Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I thought I would get on here a day early. I have another really long night tomorrow, and I thought that it might be good for me to get on here tonight when I have more of an open evening and don't have to worry about being kind of half awake or my brain half on tomorrow night. Welcome, and I hope that you guys are excited about the topic I picked for tonight, fence sitting. I think it's one that all of us can relate to. We all have some sort of situations in our lives where we're really sitting on the fence trying to decide what decision to make. So basically what fence sitting is, I think everybody knows, it's a state of indecision, right? We've got a decision to make, and when we're fence sitting, if you can picture, we're straddling a fence, right? And we can't really decide. We got to get off the fence because it's uncomfortable as hell, but we can't really decide which way to go. So if you can think of either way to go, jump off the side or the other, those are both the only two ways we can go, right or left, right? Sorry, my nose itches. But when we get stuck on the fence, it is because we just feel paralyzed by this decision we have to make. And this can be something that's really more simple, like forming an opinion about something, or let's say a couple people are having an argument and you're drawn into the middle, like whose side are you going to take? It can be more situational like that, where it's just kind of like you're in the moment and it can be difficult to make a decision. And sometimes it's okay to be sitting on the fence because you're like, I don't really swing one way or the other. I don't agree with this per se, and I don't agree with that per se. So I'm just kind of in the middle, or maybe with an argument, you're kind of Switzerland, okay? That kind of fence sitting is really okay. But the kind of fence sitting that I want to talk about tonight is more that kind of fence sitting that comes from a lack of courage for making a decision that we kind of already know the answer to, or we know the one that we want to do, but maybe something is holding us back. There's generally a handful of reasons, I want to say maybe like 5, that might hold us back from making a decision and staying stuck on that uncomfortable fence. One is fear, so we can ask ourselves, what is that fear that's holding us back from either this decision on this side or that decision, or not making a decision at all? And then obviously another one is indecision, right? Maybe we're not for sure which way we want to get off that fence, right? Maybe we just don't know. So we can ask ourselves, what's that decision I have to make? Write it down. What is that actual decision I have to make? Our brains can get muddled and full with all the details and things we need to think about with that decision. So it can really be helpful to write down, here's the decision I'm struggling with. Here is my indecision. Here is what I need to do, meaning here's the decision that I need to make. Anger can really paralyze us. Okay, if you're following, that would be like number 3. Anger about anything to do with this decision. Maybe you don't like either one of these choices that you have to make, but you have to make one. Anger can cloud our judgment. It can paralyze us in our decision making. It can be really difficult to make decisions when we're angry. We're clouded by we're clouded by judgment. We're feeling paralyzed. And the last one, and this can be a really real thing too, is laziness. Okay. And what is am I looking for an easy way out, or am I looking for the best way out? So we have to get really crystal clear on that. What kind of decision am I looking for? Am I going to be basing my decision on what's easiest, or am I going to be basing my decision on what's best with me or best for me? A lot of this has to do with our comfort zone, okay? In our comfort zone, we're really lazy, okay? We accept our fears. We're like, that's just the way it goes, We tell ourselves, I'm just going to wait for the perfect solution, and then I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to wait until everything on the outside is perfect, and then I'll easily be able to make a decision, okay? Here's the deal, guys. Fence sitting can be okay for a while. If you really need time to think about something, it's okay to sit on the fence and think about it. But after a while, you can change inwardly as a result of this, and your judgment can get clouded. and there's not often, usually there's not going to be this outward change that's going to make your decision any easier, that's going to make you act. Only you truly know what that decision is that you want to make. There's some questions you can ask yourself, and I wrote these down. Number one, are these decisions ones that you know you need to make? Okay. Are they ones that you know you need to make? Number two, does the thought of not having options sound uncomfortable? Okay. And going along with that, number three, are you trying to keep your options open just in case plan A of making that decision that you really want to make does not work out? Are you scared about what's going to happen and not having any other options if plan A doesn't work out? You guys, I can tell you right now that if plan A, the ideal situation, does not work out, that opens up an entire new collection, if you will, of options that you can choose from, and you'll have another plan A in there. All right. It's not as scary as it seems. Some ways that you can get off of that fence is to give yourself a deadline. I know it sounds so scary. Like, what if I don't know by then, though, right? You got to keep, if you don't give yourself a deadline, what you're going to do is keep ruminating, and you're going to get cloudier and cloudier and cloudier. You got to pick a date, put it on the calendar, and make a decision on that day. You got to get the big picture. Oftentimes when we are fence sitting, we're really concentrating on the scary part of the decision. We're concentrating on the fear, okay? We're not really concentrating on the big picture of what that's going to do to our life. It's scary to think, though, if you think about it in a big picture, it's very scary to think that you could still be sitting on this fence in 5 years. Because I can tell you right now, or even a year, in 5 years, your butt's going to hurt even more. Okay. Now, and you've lost all that time and energy just trying to make a decision. Now, how do I know? All right. Well, I've told you before, I was a huge fence sitter. Okay, when I was trying to decide whether or not to get a divorce, or whether or not actually in the beginning to even just get a legal separation and move out. I sat on the fence for, oh my God, you guys, let me think. 5 years. Yeah, amazingly, 5 years. I remember asking for everybody's opinions because I sat so damn long that I didn't trust my own. And there were some other reasons why I was just not who I normally am, and my judgment and everything was clouded. There was a lot more to do with that, but part of it was just that I sat on that fence for so damn long that I didn't know how to make a decision. I was asking people, what's normal? Is this normal in a marriage? Is this normal? Oh God, I remember that. I remember worrying about my future. So here we go, fears, right? Worrying about my kids' future. I was worrying about, not so much about being alone, because I was alone a lot, but more about, am I always going to feel lonely? Is that feeling going to go away, right? Obsessing, asking, looking for signs from the universe constantly. I remember driving down the highway I used to live on thinking, if I see a patch of purple flowers, that means I need to leave. I mean, for real, guys, I was getting this desperate, okay? And even when I did get the sign, I always made an excuse as to why it must not have really been a sign. All right. I was clinging to that fence when I no longer when I no longer was in indecision, but knew I had to make a choice, knew I had to act. I was still clinging to that fence. Like, if you can imagine, up to the last second when I made the decision. For me, in some ways I was lucky because my decision got to the point where I didn't really have a choice. I had to go, okay? And I've talked about that. So once I decided to get off the fence, you guys, I jumped off that fence and I got to work, okay? Think about areas in your life, you guys, where you are fence sitting. These can be related to your career, your relationships, your health. Pick one and make a clear decision now. Try the easy one for now, okay? Then take an actionable step towards that decision. So sometimes it can be nice to just sit down and make a list, career-wise, am I living in indecision and fence sitting? Relationship-wise, and where is this? Now, do you really want it? And how serious are you? Okay, you got to ask yourself that. What it is you really want and how serious are you about achieving that thing that you want. Because, guys, fence sitting, there's nothing happening there. If you're there for a long time, there's nothing happening but putting off an inevitable decision, because you know it's going to be made someday. So I'm going to leave you with this, because I know there's a lot more to say about this, and you know me, I'll probably think of something and hop on here over the weekend. But jump off the fence and enjoy your life, okay? Reach out for help if you need that. But just know you can't stay on that fence forever, and it's okay to make the best decision for you. And all fears aside, I can promise you, if you make the best decision for yourself and your family, well, I'm also a believer that if you make the best decision for your happiness, that's a healthy one, that your family, usually benefits as well. But if you do this and you make the best decision for yourself, the rest is going to fall into place. And it's ultimately going to be the best thing, because it's only going to get harder and more cloudy and, less clear as a result, right? Okay, I hope that was helpful for you tonight. Guys, ever any questions on this, or if you ever want to speak to me about any kind of personal issue, I am here. I love this. Fence sitting is one of the things I am so well versed in, because I lived it for so long. So I'm always happy to be someone to chat with or talk to. Okay, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.